Hey, the mop doesn't belong in the boardroom. Laughter exploded across the executive floor. Coffee cups shook. Executives turned their heads. Several employees pulled out their phones. Standing quietly near the conference room door was Marcus Reed, a 46-year-old black maintenance technician wearing a Navy maintenance uniform, carrying a toolbox and a thermal inspection camera. One employee smirked. Did somebody invite the janitor to the shareholders' meeting? More laughter. Marcus stayed calm. I'm here because facilities reported an overheating electrical panel. Another employee rolled his eyes. Sure you are. Maybe fix the restroom first. The room erupted again. Marcus looked toward the hallway. I really need access to the electrical room. A manager folded his arms. The board meeting starts in 5 minutes. You'll wait, Marcus spoke firmly. If we wait, we could have a serious problem. Nobody listened. Marcus glanced at the thermal camera. The screen flashed deep red. The electrical panel temperature kept climbing. He quietly whispered, "That's not good." A young intern noticed. Is something wrong? Marcus nodded. The transformer feeding this floor is overheating. If it isn't shut down, it could fail. The intern looked worried. We should tell someone. Before Marcus could answer, the department director walked out. What's going on here? An employee laughed. Our maintenance guy thinks the building is about to fall apart. More laughter echoed down the hallway. Marcus remained composed. I'm not guessing. The equipment is showing dangerous temperatures. The director barely looked at the screen. We have investors arriving. This meeting is more important. Marcus took a deep breath. I'm asking for 60 seconds. That's all. The director pointed toward the elevator. Come back after the meeting. Marcus slowly packed away the thermal camera. He wasn't angry. He was worried. As he turned to leave, he heard it. Buzz. A low electrical hum echoed through the wall. His eyes widened. He knew that sound. He stopped walking. The lights flickered once. Then everything returned to normal. Most people didn't even notice. Marcus did. He turned back. His voice was louder this time. Everyone needs to leave this hallway. Now. The laughter stopped. One employee smiled sarcastically. What now? The building is haunted. Marcus looked directly at the electrical room door. A faint smell of burning insulation drifted into the hallway. His expression changed. This isn't a drill. Move! Just then, the lights flickered again. This time, the sound was much louder. Boom! A deafening blast echoed from behind the electrical room door. Smoke burst into the hallway. The laughter disappeared instantly. Smoke poured into the executive hallway. The laughter disappeared instantly. Employees who had mocked Marcus seconds earlier now stood frozen. Someone screamed. The building's on fire! Another person dropped a laptop. Papers scattered across the marble floor. The emergency lights flashed red. Beep! 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 The fire alarm finally activated. Panic spread through the entire floor. Marcus didn't panic. Years of emergency response training immediately kicked in. He grabbed the emergency radio clipped to his belt. Maintenance to security. We have an electrical fire on executive floor 24. Begin evacuation immediately. He looked at the frightened employees. Listen to me. His voice cut through the chaos. Forget your laptops. Forget your bags. Leave everything. Follow me. For the first time all morning, everyone listened. The department director stood motionless. His hands trembled. My presentation. My investors. Marcus stepped in front of him. You can replace a presentation. You can't replace lives. The director stared at him, unable to speak. Marcus gently grabbed his shoulder. Come on. We're leaving. As everyone rushed toward the emergency stairwell, Marcus stopped. Something was wrong. One of the emergency exit doors refused to unlock. Employees pushed against it. Nothing. Panic spread again. "We're trapped!" People began shouting over each other. Marcus quickly opened a nearby maintenance cabinet. He pulled out a heavy emergency override key. Within seconds, the emergency exit unlocked. The crowd rushed safely into the stairwell. One woman looked back at Marcus. "You just saved us." Marcus replied, "We're not done yet." Just as Marcus prepared to leave, he heard coughing, faint, very faint, from the conference room. He immediately turned around. Smoke had become much thicker. Security shouted from the stairwell, "Sir, don't go back!" Marcus ignored them. "There's still someone inside." Without hesitation, he wrapped a safety cloth over his mouth, dropped to one knee beneath the smoke, and disappeared into the hallway. Inside the conference room, the young intern lay on the floor. She had fallen after inhaling smoke. Marcus rushed over. "Can you hear me?" She nodded weakly. I can't breathe." Marcus stayed calm. "It's okay. I've got you." He lifted her onto his shoulder, then slowly carried her toward the exit, while thick smoke filled the hallway. Suddenly, a ceiling light crashed to the floor behind them. Glass shattered everywhere. The hallway was closing fast. Marcus shielded the intern with his own body, step by step. He kept moving. Hundreds of employees stood across the street. Fire trucks arrived with sirens blaring. Everyone watched the entrance. One firefighter asked, "Is everyone out?" The department director looked around. His face turned pale. "Marcus, he's still inside." The crowd fell silent. Seconds felt like hours. Then, the front doors burst open. Marcus emerged through the smoke, carrying the unconscious intern in his arms. The crowd gasped. Firefighters immediately rushed toward them. The intern opened her eyes. She looked at Marcus. With tears in her eyes, she whispered, "You came back." Marcus smiled gently. "I told you. We were getting out together." The entire crowd stood speechless. Not long ago, many of these same people had laughed at him. Now, they realized the person they underestimated had just risked his own life to save someone else's. Firefighters quickly took the young intern to an ambulance. A paramedic checked Marcus for smoke inhalation. "You're lucky," Marcus smiled. "So is she." Across the street, hundreds of employees stood silently. Only an hour earlier, many of them had laughed at him. Now no one could even look him in the eye. The fire chief walked over carrying a thermal inspection report. He addressed everyone. The fire started inside an overloaded electrical panel. He held up the damaged equipment. "Our investigation shows the maintenance department reported the overheating before the fire." He paused. The warning was correct. And it came from Mr. Marcus Reed. The crowd turned toward Marcus. The department director slowly lowered his head. The director stepped forward. His voice was quiet. "Marcus, I owe you, and everyone here, an apology. I dismissed your warning because I thought the meeting was more important." He looked around at the employees. "I was wrong. If Marcus had simply walked away, this building could have suffered catastrophic damage." He turned back to Marcus. "And many of us might not have made it out safely." The lobby remained completely silent. Just then, the company's CEO, Elaine Brooks, hurried into the lobby after returning from an off-site meeting. She immediately asked, "Is everyone safe?" The fire chief nodded. "Thanks to one man." He pointed toward Marcus. Elaine walked over. "You stayed inside?" Marcus answered calmly. There was still someone trapped. The CEO looked at him for a long moment. "You risked your life for people who had just laughed at you." Marcus gave a small smile. My job isn't to decide who deserves help. My job is to help. Several employees quietly wiped tears from their eyes. Recognition, Elaine turned to the crowd. I've reviewed Marcus's record. For 14 years, he has never missed an emergency call. He has prevented floods, stopped electrical failures, protected this building countless times. She looked at Marcus, and almost nobody knew. Marcus shrugged. I was just doing my job. Elaine smiled. No. You were protecting every person who walks through these doors. The CEO began clapping. One executive joined her, then another. Within seconds, the entire lobby erupted into applause. Hundreds of employees stood. The same hallway where Marcus had been mocked was now filled with respect. The young intern, now recovering, walked over with tears in her eyes. If you hadn't come back, I wouldn't be standing here, Marcus gently replied. I'm glad you are. The following Monday morning, Marcus walked through the front entrance, carrying his familiar toolbox. This time, the receptionist smiled. Good morning, Marcus. Employees held the elevator for him. Executives greeted him by name. The department director walked over. I've arranged emergency safety training for every manager. The first lesson? He smiled. Listen to the experts. Marcus chuckled. That's a good place to start. People often notice the loudest person in the room, but sometimes the quiet professional working behind the scenes is the one holding everything together. Never judge someone's value by their uniform. Respect is earned through character, responsibility, and the choices people make when others need them most. Marcus never asked to be called a hero. He simply did what needed to be done. And that was enough. If you believe real heroes don't always wear suits, comment one word below, hero.